Gyms across Montana said they wanted to be allowed to open sooner than later. That wish coming true coming up when the governor says gyms can get back into business. And even as more and more businesses are opening in Montana, a Billings health official is issuing a warning. Coming up, what he says about the dangers of close contact while the coronavirus is still circulating. Good morning, Southwest Montana. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell. It is 6:30 on this Friday, and it's Friday.
It is Friday.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
That's
Matt,
right.
There you go.
Temperatures this morning very chilly. You want to get that coat on the way out the door. Not that it's frigid out, but it's uncomfortable.
It's not pleasant either.
If you're without a coat. I walked outside a little bit ago. Temperatures right now holding into the 20s and 30s, 18 degrees this morning in West Yellowstone. Right now the clouds are trying to work their way back across the area. Not a ton of cloud cover right now. The afternoon bringing a few scattered showers, not real heavy showers, but there could be an embedded thunder shower in a couple of those. Our daytime highs into the 50s for today. We'll talk about your Mother's Day weekend forecast from the Billion Auto Weather Patio in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Just ahead of 6:32 now, there are 2 new active coronavirus cases in Gallatin County.
Gallatin City County Health Department reports both cases are in West Yellowstone and in the same family. Cases believed to be tied to an out-of-state travel. Both people have had limited exposure to others in the community. Total number of active cases in the state is now 25. Total confirmed cases, 458. Again, a reminder, 16 people have died from COVID-19. We're also approaching 20,250 completed tests.
Steve Bullock says gyms, fitness centers, movie theaters, and museums can all reopen on May 15th. That date is at the request of businesses and local public health officials to give them time to prepare to follow all social distancing and health requirements. The owners of one of the newest gyms in Gallatin County are especially eager to get the doors open. MTN's John Miller caught up with former MSU athletes who are pursuing their dreams after returning to Montana just a few years ago.
The Cove Gym in Belgrade opened last October.
Our staff is great and our members are happy. Everybody's here wanting to work out, wanting to have a good time, and it's been definitely more than I expected.
The Molocks own the fitness center. Amanda played basketball and track at Montana State, and Jonathan played linebacker for the Bobcats.
It was great to be able to switch up sports and be able to say I was able to do Division I in basketball and in track and be successful in both.
I remember I caught the injury bug my first year here. Next year after that, it was just a great year. Overall, it was a good experience.
However, their favorite part of being at MSU actually wasn't playing sports. It was the friendships they made with their teammates.
The relationships I kind of cherish the most about playing at MSU. Even though hitting receivers coming across the middle was fun.
Even still to this day, a lot of us keep really strong relationships, so that was definitely the best part of it.
After living in California for a few years, they wanted to return to Montana, the state where Amanda grew up, but also where they wanted to raise their children and start a gym.
We always had the goal of opening up the gym just because fitness has been our life and it's been a passion for us, and we're just trying to fill a void in the Belgrade community.
The Cove is not their only business. They own 2 adult residential facilities for the developmentally disabled in California, helping them live on their own.
We just love helping, people who really can't help themselves.
Like any business, their gym has been impacted by the COVID-19 shutdown, but they aren't going to let this stop them from achieving their dreams.
I think we're in a pretty good position to, come back from this stronger than where we started, and we're just ready for everybody to come back.
In Belgrade, John Miller, MTN Sports.
Now, even as gyms and other businesses get ready to reopen their doors, a Yellowstone County Health Officer, John Felton, is warning that it still hasn't even been 2 weeks since businesses began reopening, and it's just been a few days for restaurants and bars. Felton says what we are seeing now with current counts predates the reopening because of the incubation period involved, and he does expect an uptick again ahead because of it. For most of Montana, the news continues to be good in the battle to keep coronavirus from spreading. You can see on the map all the counties to the east and north of Yellowstone County, particularly in the green, that haven't reported a single case of COVID-19. That includes 26 of Montana's 56 counties overall. Felton says now is not the time to become complacent.
Fleetwood Mac said it best when they said, "Don't stop thinking about tomorrow." So things are looking good right now, but we haven't yet reached the point that we would expect to see the cases from the initial reopening. And then we're still probably close to 2 weeks away from seeing the effects of the reopening of bars and restaurants. So people have done really well in terms of following the guidelines up till now. It's just not time to think that this is all behind us. So we need to keep being vigilant.
Felton went on to say during this phase one, it's still especially important for the elderly and people with compromised health conditions to continue to shelter at home.
36, a lot of childcare facilities were affected by the coronavirus outbreak in some way. For some, that meant shutting down completely. Childcare Connections in Bozeman is reaching out to support childcare facilities and make sure they have everything they need during this time. The nonprofit is giving out supplies and gifts to different facilities across Gallatin County. And for some of these places, it's the only way that they could get some of the safety items needed to operate.
I just think it means that they can feel safe about operating and taking care of the children and families in their care. You know, a lot of them just didn't have some of these things on hand and they couldn't find them very quickly.
And all of the supplies are given away at no cost to the child care facilities.
In other headlines this morning, it's commencement time at Montana State University. Only this spring, things are going to be a little different. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, all commencement ceremonies this weekend will be held online. Students who are graduating will get a personalized invitation from their college dean for the event. The student then clicks on a link to view the program being streamed. Diplomas will be mailed to the students in July. The lights on Montana Hall will also be on all weekend long to honor those graduates.
This week is part of MTN's series on contested statewide primary election races. We're examining the crowded field vying for Montana's open U.S. House seat. Today, Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison gives us a closer look at the Republicans running for the seat, all 6 of them.
Montana's only U.S. House seat is open because incumbent Republican Greg Gianforte is running for governor. 6 Republicans are trying to succeed him. And the one to beat in the June 2nd primary is State Auditor and Insurance Commissioner Matt Rosendale. Rosendale has raised $1.3 million in campaign funds, far more than any other Republican. He's been endorsed by President Trump, and he's already running TV ads touting that endorsement and his conservative credentials. Rosendale says while the coronavirus has shut down traditional campaigning, he's been busy doing the job of auditor, overseeing health insurers during the crisis.
I am thoroughly convinced that as long as I do a good job at the office that the people of Montana elected me for, that they will continue to give me the support that they have previously and push me forward as the nominee for United States Congress.
But his primary opponents note that Rosendale lost the 2018 race to Democratic U.S. Senator John Tester despite a Trump endorsement, and say he's not the best GOP bet to retain this seat. Secretary of State Corey Stapleton hopes his status as a statewide office holder and military veteran could propel him to victory.
In times of trouble, I think that people look for someone who's stable and someone who served before. And military veterans listening to this will understand this, that I'm just trying to hold out to people that what I bring to this is experience, stability.
And farmer rancher Joe Dooling of Helena says he's been campaigning hard and stressing that he has a down-home Montana appeal that others can't match.
If I'm elected, you guys are my bosses, and I want my boss to call me if he has an issue. So I put my number out there 100 times. Just give me a jingle, and you'll catch me in the tractor.
The other GOP candidates for House are former State Republican Party Chair Deborah Lamb, National Guard vet and former teacher Mark McGinley, and electrician John Ivankovich of Butte. Lamb calls herself the grassroots candidate and says gender won't be an issue if she's the Republican opposing the likely Democratic nominee, Kathleen Williams. McGinley is waging a strong social media campaign, emphasizing a resume he says can resonate with voters as a counselor at the Youth Challenge program in Dillon, his work in prison ministry, and his military record. Ivankovich's campaign has been minimal, but says he can help bring organized labor into the Republican fold. Yet for any Republican candidate not named Rosendale, the question is whether they can overcome the power of name recognition, big-time endorsements, and money. Is Rosendale the best bet for Republicans to hold on to this seat? Or might someone else emerge from this six-way scrum and win the primary? GOP voters start deciding this weekend when mail ballots go out. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And primary election ballots will be mailed to all registered voters starting today. We're going to take a quick break, but before that, here's what's coming up on CBS This Morning at 7.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, as the nation's unemployment numbers reach historic levels, we hear from people who are self-employed and struggling to collect jobless benefits. Also, with more than 40 states easing restrictions, Dr. Tara Narula takes your questions on how to safely venture out in public. Plus, Australia has a population of 25 million, but fewer than, listen to this, 100 COVID-19 deaths. That's amazing. See how the country is successfully fighting the coronavirus. And 11-time Grammy winner, that's Babyface, is releasing new music for the first time in 5 years. What took him so long? First on CBS This Morning, the R&B star gives us a listen to his new song. I think you're going to like it. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.